Tanse, my name is Seapieces Marsland. My name was given to me by my Cookham Dorothy Morasti of Little Red First Nation. My spirit name is Ogama Nimke Benishikwe, which means Chief Thunderbird Woman. I was given this name from Anishinaabe elder Jake Caboni on Manitoulin Island, Ontario. I am Woodlands and Plains Cree with a history of Orcadian roots from Orkney, Scotland, dating back 8 generations. I identify as Métis, as my family has identified as Métis over many generations. My forefather was a chief of Sturgeon Lake First Nation, who signed Treaty 6 near Fort Carlton on August 23, 1876. Treaty 6 is known for the medicine clause under which Indigenous people today are provided medicine and medical supplies. I have a Bachelor of Social Work degree from the University of Calgary and a Master's of Social Work, Indigenous Focus of Study, from Wilfrid Laurier University. I received the Heroes of Our Time Award from the Assembly of First Nations and University of Calgary Social Action Award. Upon graduation from my Master's, I was honored with the Dr. Reverend Dieter Kays Award. I have worked in the area of trauma and disaster response. Firstly, I want to thank the efforts of all of our frontline workers across Canada and all Canadians during this challenging time. I am here today to talk to you about COVID-19 from an Indigenous perspective. As an Indigenous person, as Indigenous people, we have been through pandemics before. When the first visitors arrived on our lands, we were met with this harsh reality of unseen diseases which decimated our populations. We have experienced smallpox, tuberculosis, influenza, H1N1, SARS, and suicide. Millions of Indigenous people lost their lives on this continent due to contracting these viruses and diseases. During the First World War, the Spanish influenza virus killed between 30 and 50,000 Canadians in 1 year, and millions worldwide. The Spanish influenza wiped out entire Indigenous communities. Canada's Indigenous people make up 4.5% of the Canadian population and are the youngest and fastest growing population in Canada. Indigenous people are no stranger to surviving traumatic events, as we have lived through residential schools, boarding schools, day schools, 60s scoop, millennium scoops, and pandemics. COVID-19 is a worldwide pandemic of such magnitude to which we as a human race have never seen before. Our response time in acting to contain the virus is so important, and I believe the time for Canada to act on an emergency act, National Emergency Act, is now. To protect Indigenous First Nations, Métis, and Inuit people of this land, to protect all Canadians. We are relations. We are in this together. COVID-19 attacks the respiratory system. It destroys the cells in the lungs. I have seen footage that has not been shown on Canadian media of healthy young people on machines helping them breathe. The death toll in Italy has surpassed the death toll in China. California has placed 40 million people under house arrest, expecting 25.5 million people to contract the COVID-19 virus in the next 8 weeks. The people of California, Spain, Italy, Europe, and this morning, Morocco, are not permitted to leave their homes. To put this into perspective, Canada is roughly the size of California, which again has restricted the movement of 40 million people to contain the spread of the virus. So my question is, why has Canada not placed the same restrictions of movement on the people of Canada? The virus does not have legs, and we can contain it now if we act now. Canada has promised money to assist with the fallout in the next upcoming months for all Canadians as well as to Indigenous people. But that money will mean nothing if there is no people on the other end to accept it. That money needs effective distribution to communities and people who need it most, those who are in northern communities, but they do not have the same access to healthcare, clean water, medical supplies, and trained staff as more central urban areas do. There are some things that are certain. Canada's most vulnerable populations are at the greatest risk. First Nations, Métis, and Inuit people are in need of immediate assistance. Trained staff, masks, medicine, medical equipment, not body bags, ventilators, water, food, and access to doctors. Canada entered into a treaty relationship with the Indigenous people of this land, and in doing so comes obligations. As Indigenous people, we have held to our side of the agreement. We need the medical supplies, the clean water, the food, the sanitation supplies. Lastly, hand washing is our greatest defense. Coughing into your sleeve and social distancing. People need to do this. Newborns are at risk. They are to be with mom and dad and no visits. Call and video chat. Do not visit people. Deliver food to the elderly and leave it outside their door. If you must, share a bed due to overcrowding. Sleep head to foot, so at least you are keeping your breathing to yourself. These are tactics used right now in overcrowded situations. Be vigilant in wiping flat surfaces all the time, at least 3 times a day. Keyboard, cell phone, clean the house, declutter. Soap and vigorous hand washing destroys the outer membrane of the virus, but it takes a little while to do so, so it's both the amount of time and the vigorous scrubbing that attacks the outer membrane of the virus. For mental health during this time, knowing that stress and anxiety is high, we can use social media as a tool for human connection, to contact our loved ones and our relations. That human connection boosts our immune system. We need to be on the land and getting healing from the land. Go for walks, but keep social distancing. Social distancing means at this stage, it's imperative we listen to our public health officials. Social distancing means stay away from each other. The best way is to stay at home. Stay home. And remember, we will get through this together. May the energy that flows through everything strengthen you today as we prepare ourselves for what is next. I acknowledge our ancestors, the warriors, and the helpers that walk with us. Tinigi, Ekose.